Good morning, it's 9:30 a.m. I'm Sahar Mushtaq and this is the news on Mira Business FM. And these are the headlines. Recent evacuation efforts brought stranded residents back to the UAE. These efforts highlighted support for residents abroad, especially the golden visa holders. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs and NCEMA helped return around 500 residents. This followed regional disruptions and airspace closures. The operations also showed expanded emergency support for golden visa holders. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs has launched a 24/7 hotline. It offers help during crisis, including evacuation support and coordination with UAE missions. If a passport is lost or damaged, a one-time return document can be issued within minutes. This allows travel back to the UAE. Support is also available in case of a death abroad. Families must cover repatriation costs. Officials say the service extends key consular support to golden visa holders and their families, according to Khaleej Times report. Manafi for Development and Investment has allocated 100 million dirhams to support the Mother of the Nation Endowment for Orphans. The campaign is led by Abu Dhabi's Endowments and Miners Funds Authority under the patronage of His Highness President Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan. It aims to create a sustainable fund to support orphans across education, healthcare, and living needs. Officials say the initiative will generate long-term returns and strengthen social support for orphans in the UAE. Air traffic operations have returned to normal across the UAE's airspace. The General Civil Aviation Authority has announced earlier in the day UAE authorities temporarily closed the country's airspace as an exceptional precautionary measure aimed at ensuring the safety of flights and air crews and safeguarding the UAE's territory amid rapidly evolving regional security developments, according to Gulf News. The authority stated that this decision was taken following a comprehensive assessment of security and operational risk, and in full coordination with relevant national and international authorities, stressing that airspace safety and the protection of the UAE sovereignty remains absolute priority. That's the news for now. For more news, follow our website, mirabusiness.fm.
Good morning, this is The Morning Drive. Coming up, we're going to be talking EID staycations with a certain luxury perspective as well, prospects ahead of the EID celebrations, of course. That's coming up on The Morning Drive with me, Tim Elliott. It is Mira Business FM.
Mira Business FM, your daily guide to the markets, money, and more.
It's the morning drive. This is Mira Business FM. Talking Eid staycations now. Eid holidays on the way. Lots of UAE residents looking close to home for their luxury escape, or just an escape. Here to talk about Eid bookings, the things we're looking for this holiday season, and more is John Raful. He's the general manager at Cheval Maison The Palm. John, it's good to meet you.
Good to meet you. Thank you for having me.
Good to have you here. So let's start with, if you like, the proposition. Cheval Maison's been around since 2023.
Correct.
Here in the UAE. The proposition is short-term and I guess extended stays as well, but it's very much, this is a luxury proposition.
Absolutely. So basically we offer extended stays for our guests at the Palm, luxury stays for short stays and long-term residences, where basically guests can enjoy luxury life on the Palm, where basically you give us all what you need in terms of your expectations, and we deliver as much as possible your needs to us.
So do I come to you with my wish list?
Yes.
And kind of say to you, I need, I don't know, Werther's Originals and, you know, my particular favorite beverage and beach towel.
Absolutely. So we do have also a concierge services where basically also we work on delivering your grocery if you want. We work on the list and we go and deliver it. We have also our concierge and travel desk. So it's a basically hospitality hotel property where basically also you have the luxury of staying on an apartment kind of a setup, and basically enjoy both the extended stay and the hotel services facility.
Okay, and in terms of what size of apartments, it runs to, you know, from the studios to...
So we do have 131 units, ranging between 100 units, one bedrooms, and then 20 two bedrooms and 10 three-bedroom apartments.
Okay.
Ranging between 83 square meter all the way up to 157 square meter roughly, from a one-bedroom all the way to a three-bedroom unit. It's fully furnished, all of the apartments.
Okay. I'm just trying to build up a picture of how it works. I have to sort of plead ignorance in lots of ways, with most guests, actually, to be fair, but I think that's a different story. Staycations are increasingly something that, you know, it's a more major part of the holiday landscape, and particularly in sort of relatively recent years. I mean, given the times we're in, and the backdrop is, you know, the conflict, reduced flights, are in a tougher moment, I think, than we'd like to be.
Yeah.
But how are Eid bookings filling up for you? Is that offering, you know, some signs of encouragement at the moment?
So definitely we are going through a little bit of a tough time, but definitely we'll come out strong from that.
Right.
We do get calls and emails inquiring about the Eid holidays. Of course, we are there to support our guests. Safety is priority for our guests, so we do take as well into considerations the safety measures also for our guests. We're seeing an increase in calls. People are calling, people are asking about the staycations. We've launched recently an online staycation promotion on our website, Pay for 2, Stay for 3, where basically guests can enjoy this promotion by going to the website, Cheval Collection website, and book the staycation during Eid holidays, or by even calling the property directly as well. And this is applicable for the property on the Palm or our property at Expo City.
I was going to ask you about that because you mentioned that just before we sat down to have a chat. You've got, am I right? It's the old leadership pavilion.
The pavilion, correct.
And very, very nice it is too.
It's a beautiful property. It's one of the landmarks, I would say, at the Expo site. It used to be the leadership pavilion during the Expo 2020 and also during the COP summit.
Right.
So we took the property and we reworked it based on our standards, and basically we took over, and now it is Cheval Maison Expo City, 150 units right next to the Dome. Beautiful property. I definitely recommend you and anybody to go and basically either visit or stay there.
I mean, it's a thriving community that we're starting to see out there as well, isn't it? There's a lot going on. Let me ask you about demand again at the moment.
Sure.
I mean, you mentioned the stay for 3, pay for 2. It's a 30% discount. That's a decent offer.
Absolutely.
Have you seen a surge in staycation demand, or has it been steady? What difference has that made?
Definitely, we've seen a surge in staycation demand, especially over the weekends and during special holidays and special celebrations. And this is where we also capitalize on in Dubai predominantly based on different periods as well. You know, in Dubai, it's seasons, and as well it's weekdays and weekends. And we see an increase and surge in demand, especially over the weekend for staycations from our local communities, or even from people traveling from other Emirates and coming as well and staying in Dubai during this period. And this is our expectation as well during the Eid holidays, to have the guests as well traveling locally as much as possible during this situation, and then basically offering our services for our guests.
I mean, it's how it's going to be at the moment, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes.
That's the nature of
Absolutely. And also, as I mentioned, safety for our guests, we are right next to the mall. So also while you're staying with us, we are next to Palm Jumeirah Mall. So you don't have to drive, you don't have to think about leaving the Palm. You will have everything what you need in the Palm right next to the property. So by walking almost 90 steps, you are at the doorsteps of Palm Jumeirah Mall. Hundreds of shops, lots of retails. You can take the monorail all the way to Aquaventure if you want. You can go to the view at the Palm. Beautiful location where you can see the entire Palm. You can go to the beach. So we have also Riva Beach access for our guests that they can walk 5 minutes and reach the beach. Or you can go to Palm West Beach and as well enjoy all the services and the facilities on that side. So it's a quite interesting location where we are in the middle of the Palm, and you can access all the facilities and the services there.
Okay. So what kinds of people typically choose a staycation at your properties? Is it families? Is it couples?
It's a mix of both, actually. It's families, again, because of the setup of the apartments that we have. 2-bedroom and the 3 bedrooms are the main driver for families, where basically guests book those big units. And of course, the location right next to the mall makes it super convenient for our guests to choose our property and stay with us for the weekend, for 3 days, for 4 days. But as well, also, the other mix of business that we have is the couples that basically stay with us on a shorter stays during the weekdays as well. So it's a quite healthy mix between weekdays and weekends, where basically we have families predominantly staying in the big units and the short stays for the 1-bedroom. And even if you have one kid or one child, you can stay as well in a 1-bedroom where we have also the sofa bed set up and makes it convenient for the guests to basically stay with us.
Okay. Do you know, there was something that surprised me when we were talking before we sat down as well. I don't know if maybe I'm wrong thinking this way, but I associate kind of luxury properties, your segment, if you like.
Yes.
And I didn't expect it to be, bring your dog with you if you want to, but you are
We are a pet friendly.
You're pet friendly. You're a dog guy yourself. I
am
know
a dog.
that. So that kind of surprised me, I have to say. I kind of thought, no, you'd be quite strict about that, but you're not.
So again, since I'm a dog parent, and I do consider priority and give priority to my dog before I plan anything.
Sure.
Having our service apartments dog and pet friendly, actually, it's a huge added value as well for families with an extended fur family member to bring along and keep the pet with us.
Yeah.
And we are probably the only pet friendly property on the Palm. And this is a huge added value for us and for the guests to consider staying at Cheval Maison de Palm and bring their pet with them as well. So you can go to the mall while your pet is in the apartment for an hour, half an hour, whatever it takes. You don't have to worry about the pet. You go do your grocery, do your shopping, come back, and then you're still spending your time with your pet.
I feel kind of a little bit heartened about that. I think that's a good thing. But I mean, from a business perspective, that makes a lot of sense as well. That enhances a proposition.
Absolutely.
So there's a little bit of that thinking as well.
Absolutely. And we do have lots of long stay guests as well, who basically were relocated from all over the world to Dubai. And one of the advantages we had is the pet-friendly environment, where basically chose our property and stayed with us because of that. So we do have a lot of long-term guests with pets and short stays guests who comes to the property, stay for a couple of nights, and then they go back with their pets to their homes.
What is it about serviced apartments, whatever level, but particularly your level, the luxury level, what is it about that is particularly appealing for a getaway compared to a traditional hotel stay? What's the differentiator? Do you think?
I think we provide a sense of exclusivity, sense of being private. I wouldn't say home away from home. That's a bit cliche, but you do still get that feeling. As I mentioned earlier as well, you're getting the services, the normal services you get in a hotel, but it's an extended stay service. So you still feel you're home somehow. You're exclusive, you're private. If you don't need any help from our side, we don't bother you. We don't knock on your door. And this is what I think people now are looking more into, more exclusive, more private stays, where basically they can enjoy doing things on their own. And if they needed any services from a hospitality establishment, they can still call, connect, and get the services. And this is where we come in. We provide that exclusivity, that sense of privacy to the guest, and then they choose us and stay with us.
Okay, you're here since 2023. You've got the Palm property, you've got the Expo property, so both kind of sides of New Dubai, if you like. What changes have you seen in how people plan holiday stays? Are they staying on a bit longer? Do they book earlier? And in terms of the experiences, because so much now, is about the experiences.
Absolutely.
What are people looking for?
So booking patterns vary from the reason why you're traveling. So if you're a leisure traveler, it's a very last minute booking.
Right.
So we throw all the promotions in the market, different market segments, but then the booking pattern for leisure is quite last minute. If you're a corporate client, you tend to book a little bit in advance. You plan your trip in advance. So basically we work on corporate clients, more of a longer booking window, where basically they know where their guests are coming, and then they book them accordingly. For long stay bookings, it takes even longer time to basically plan, visit, and then decide on the property that you want to book your guest in. So it really depends on the reason why you're traveling, but we're seeing a very last minute pattern across as well with the bookings that basically we receive. And I wouldn't say the delay, but the guests are taking more a bit of time to decide on where they want to stay and secure the opportunity.
What are people asking you for ahead of this Eid in terms of amenities? I mean, given the situation, the security, I guess people are a little bit more, hunkering down a little bit more. But what kinds of experiences or amenities are you being asked for now?
So a lot of people are still asking about the safety and the security. A lot of people are asking about the Palm Jumeirah Mall, if it's open, what shops are open, what shops are not open, all the activities around us, the beach, is it safe to go outside? And we're giving all the assurances to the guests that everything is business as normal, business as usual.
Yeah.
You can access all of the attractions, all the facilities around the property. So this is where predominantly people are asking questions when they call the property, and not only ask about the availability, but what to do around us, and if there is any interruption in terms of the services.
Could you characterize for me? I'm interested in this because you're in a very defined segment of the market, and it's a slightly different offering. I mean, there are Airbnbs everywhere of all different levels, but you're a very specific segment. How would you characterize the performance of the property? Let's take the Palm, Cheval on the Palm, for example, since you launched, and the response to the concept that you've seen.
Absolutely. Since 2023, when we've opened with a limited inventory because we've refurbished the property.
Okay.
And then the final handover was in October 2024. However, since we opened, I would say the property managed to position itself in the market as one of the luxury new properties on the Palm and in Dubai. And we've been receiving huge comments about the property and about the service that basically we provided. We managed to close both years, 24 and 25, delivering our financial commitment to our stakeholders and making them happy. But more importantly as well, we were ranked number 1 on online reviews amongst our comp sets in terms of the services, the positive reviews that basically we receive from the guests, and the feedback that they wrote on our platforms. Talking about the property, talking about the team, talking about the cleanliness, talking about the location. And for 2 consecutive years, we were ranked number 1 on online reviews platforms versus our competition. And this rewards goes to the team and to their contribution. And they managed to basically deliver the service to our guests. And the guest basically went online, wrote about our guest, about the service, about the cleanliness and the location of the property.
Okay, so I mean, pretty decent start, I suppose.
Yes.
And you're looking. I know that the brand is looking at expanding across the Middle East. Are you UK based? Is that right? Where
Yes,
is-
so we're based in the UK.
Yeah.
We're 40 years old of hospitality in the UK, predominantly 9 properties across London.
Right.
And the first property outside of the UK was Cheval Maison de Palme. And the second property, as we discussed earlier, was the Expo City.
Expo?
There's a lot of developments and there's a lot of discussions within the regions. Our development team are basically working day and night to secure more of the opportunities. We see an increased demand from the regions for our business model. We're exploring all the opportunities, and hopefully very soon we'll be able as well to announce more of the properties in the region. But we're also considering as well other locations in Europe that basically might be as well a potential for the brand to grow.
Gotcha. So this region pretty crucial to your
Absolutely.
overall growth
Absolutely,
strategy.
absolutely. And there are a couple of interesting and serious discussions with some of the stakeholders within this region for more properties, more of a branded residences as well. And hopefully within the coming few weeks, probably we will be able to share more of that growth within the region.
Okay. I'm guessing you can tell me a little bit about the property in Riyadh, because I know that that's underway, isn't it?
Yes, so we have signed with Ladoun Investment Company 2 stunning properties. One is opening on 2027, Cheval Ladoun Living, and then 2028 as well in Suleymaniya, another vibrant location, cultural district, parks, business districts, and this is where basically we are also hopefully opening in 2028. We are very happy and proud to be part as well of Saudi Vision 2030 and being part of the strategy and how Saudi wants to open up and grow. And we're part of that growth as well. And as I mentioned, Saudi is also another location within the region that we're exploring more opportunities as well to grow within that market.
I mean, Riyadh is so key, isn't it,
Absolutely.
in this region?
Absolutely. With all the development, all the strategies, all the plans that basically hopefully leading to 2030, definitely we're on board and more project as well to be open with Cheval.
Okay, so similar style to here, am I right?
Correct.
It's 150 service departments, so you're looking at long stay, you're looking at residential guests.
Correct.
What does that tell you about the demand in this region?
So again, both leisure and business, and our location is going to cater for both guests. And I think moving forward in the future, our business model is not going to be only purely for corporate or leisure. We will be giving the opportunity for guests, whether leisure or corporate, to stay with us. And we will be able to bring both segments into our property because of our business proposition that basically cater for a leisure traveler or a business traveler with the vibrant location that we're selecting our property to be located at to give an added value as well for our guests when they're traveling.
It's location,
Absolutely,
and then a
absolutely.
bit more location, isn't it?
Absolutely, vibrant location. I mean, if you wanna start with the Palm Jumeirah is the location. Everybody wants to stay on the Palm. If you look at the Expo, it was the Leadership Pavilion.
Well, it's. I mean, to all intents and purposes, really, the Expo is kind of the next destination here, isn't it? It's the
With
next
our
kind of area
Maktoum
that
Airport,
we-
absolutely.
Yeah, that we're expecting.
So location is key.
Yeah.
And all the attractions around that location and the added value that we can bring to our guests is definitely play on our behalf as well to our business model. And this is our offering for our guests.
What is it in particular that you look for in a location? Is there like a checklist when you're like, well, that's what we're looking for? You can walk to here, the beach club's there. Is that the kind
So
of?
we do a lot of studies first, of course, in terms of the location and the proposition and what's matching. But definitely there is the element of how this area is going to add on to the overall guest experience as well, and how that location as well is suiting our DNA as well. And then based on that, the decision will be taken and we will go with either Cheval residences or Cheval Maison as well for that matters, and then development start. And as I mentioned, the vibrant location can be anything, but also it can be something that is relevant to the guest need. For example, if you want to look at the Salamiyah project, it's in a cultural district,
Yeah.
It has parks. It has locations for kids to play. It's close to a business district. So it's kind of a mix of all of the needs that you as a traveler, whether on leisure or on a business, you'll be looking for.
Yeah, it's almost indefinable, isn't it? You just know that, this is a place I want to stay at.
Absolutely.
It's kind of that, for me at least. A number of projects planned. You pointed to some of those. Where are the big growth opportunities at the moment?
Definitely in the region.
Right.
In this region, definitely. We're focusing a lot on growing and expanding in this region. We do have also a couple of projects, as I mentioned, in Europe and within the North African continent. But hopefully this is more to be explored and to be shared with the public at a later on stage. But our predominantly focus is in this region, in the UAE, Saudi, Qatar, Bahrain, where basically we're holding a couple of serious discussion with some of the stakeholders in those regions.
It's really concentrating on GCC at the moment. Okay. The final question for you. Let's look ahead to the rest of this year.
Yes.
And two sides to this question. Obviously, the obvious backdrop is, the conflict that we're seeing. But what trends were and are you expecting to see in the kind of Dubai staycation, the extended stay market?
I think domestic travel will always be predominantly the strongest moving forward. We saw an increase on domestic travel earlier, but I think we're going to grow that even more.
Right.
We will be, I think, more dependent on domestic travel, people traveling within the UAE from different Emirates and staying with us. I believe as well, people are looking into more experiences than only a hotel room or an accommodation. And this is where we as a business model will jump in as well and assist on that and help creating those memorable experiences to the guest rather than only staying in a hotel room. I think this trend will grow even more by people looking for those kind of experiences and basically growing that more and more. I think the increased demand on the branded residences or luxury service apartments will continue to grow as well. People will keep on looking for privacy. People will keep looking for more exclusivity, but also having services that they want to reach out and ask for from a property. This is the trend that I think it will continue to grow. Digital definitely platform is a huge. We're seeing as well a lot of people going digital. We as well took on board a lot of initiatives on a digital platform through our application or our website. So you can do your online check-in. You can have your key access as well through your mobile. So we are also in touch with the digital world, and we're growing our platform based on that as well to be in line with the guest requirements.
It's been good to talk to you, John, this morning.
Thank you.
Goes by like that, doesn't it? John Raful is the general manager at Cheval Maison de Palm, talking staycations. I appreciate you coming in.
Thank you. I appreciate your
good
time.
To have
Thank
you
you.
here. This is Mira Business FM. News is next.
Mira Business FM, Dubai's home of business radio.
Good morning, it's 10 a.m. I'm Sahar Mushtaq and this is the news on Mira Business FM. These are the headlines. UAE supermarkets are rolling out special Eid discounts. At the same time, grocery prices are easing. Retailers say supply chains have improved. Local production has also strengthened. As a result, key food costs are stabilizing. Meanwhile, stores have increased stock levels. Demand is rising ahead of Eid. Items like fresh produce, rice, sweets, and beverages are in focus. However, some items, including onions and tomatoes, saw temporary increases. Even so, retailers say alternative sourcing is helping. Local supply is also keeping the market stable, according to Khalij Times report today. Overall, shoppers across the UAE are stocking up on essentials. Eid preparations are now picking up pace. The UAE has expanded emergency support for golden visa holders abroad. New consular services are now available during crisis. This follows recent efforts to bring back stranded residents. Around 500 golden visa holders were assisted during travel disruptions, according to another report on Khalij Times. This support includes a 24/7 emergency hotline. It also covers evacuation and crisis assistance. In addition, holders can apply for an electronic return document. This is issued if a passport is lost or damaged overseas. Authorities say the document can be issued in about 30 minutes. It is free and allows a one-time return to the UAE. The service may also extend to family members. This includes registered dependents and valid residency. Officials also said that the move strengthens support for long-term residents. It also reflects confidence in the UAE's stability despite regional challenges. Traffic has returned to normal on roads leading to Airport Road in Dubai. Dubai police say earlier closures have now been cleared. This includes routes from Al Khabanij Street towards Al Rashidiyah. The closure had affected the Al Amiri intersection previously. Motorists can now travel as usual, according to Gulf News. This is all the news that we have for now. For more news, you can follow us on our website, mirabusiness.fm.
This is The Morning Drive. Welcome to the program. It's Mira Business FM. My name's Tim Elliott. Coming up, we're talking real estate. And actually this morning, real actionable advice at this point in time. That's the topic next at Mira Business FM.
Business FM, your daily guide to the markets, money, and more.
It's Mira Business FM. We're joined by our regular real estate guru. Is that the right way to put it? I'm not sure how we describe AJ Menon, the CEO of Lux Vista Real Estate. You know everybody. You know what's funny? Whenever you turn up here and a guest leaves the studio before you come in, there's always a connection somewhere. We've just been talking to the general manager of Cheval Maison on the Palm, right? And AJ Wilkes, he's like, I was at the Expo City place the other day. You are that guy that knows everybody in this town.
Been here for a long time, Tim.
I know. Nice to see you, AJ.
Likewise.
Good to have you here. So here we are, just over 2 weeks into a conflict, the effects of which are being felt globally, AJ. I need to ask you, how is the real estate market? You're running a real estate agency. How long are we? How do you feel at the moment?
It's definitely slow. It is definitely slow.
It's slowed down a lot.
And anybody who's saying it is not slow is lying. It is slow.
Yes.
And it will continue like this for probably at least till end of the month. We are looking at even April for that matter. Residents will consider, but most of the international investors are pausing.
Right.
That is a certainty.
Okay.
Right.
Because it feels as though I've used this phrase a load of times in the last while, and it kind of applies to every interview. So I'll be honest with you, if I get stuck for a question, I go to holding pattern at the moment. But it's kind of a cheat, but it is the case, isn't it? That's how we kind of feel.
Now, the funny thing is, they have shown interest. They have already placed expressions of interest with me.
Right.
But they just said, hold on. So it's not like they've given up on Dubai. They want to watch what's going to happen.
Yeah.
How long is the conflict going to last?
There's an element in that, and I'm going to take a positive view on this at the moment, rather than, positivity is a good thing, I think, but there's an element of that people are still looking. There's an element of confidence that you take from that. It's wait and see, but it's wait and see and probably pull the trigger, kind of. Excuse that terrible pun, by the way. That was terrible. That was badly done, but you know what I mean.
Definitely.
Yeah.
See, residents who are here, they already believe in the system.
Yes.
They love this place.
Yeah,
so
okay.
they will buy, for sure. It is those international investors, they still have confidence in the market, and that is why they're not completely pulling out. They said, hold on with my check, hold on with my expression of interest. Let us pause for a moment, let us see how it is going, and then we'll take a call. It's not like the complete, oh no, let me run away with my money, or I'm not even in this thing, I'm not even looking at Dubai. Nobody has completely told me that.
Yeah, okay. And if you have a property, or maybe you have a real estate portfolio, or maybe you're looking at, extending a portfolio or getting into the UAE, what kind of advice are you giving people?
See, if you have a property here as a resident and you're living in this place, do nothing. There is no change in your life. Just go on, live your life.
Okay.
And if you think that you might leave if the war escalates, either temporarily or a permanent relocation, even then, I would advise not to sell. You can always give it on rent.
Sure.
Right? And if you think, if you plan to sell, you should start talking to a consultant now. Because the longer it takes, the longer it takes to sell, even even in a normal time, you're talking about around 2 to 3 months of selling a property. But now it will take slightly longer. So you have to look at it immediately. But the advice is, do not panic, do not sell.
And people are looking for distressed deals. There are always buyers in that mindset.
See, why are people looking to buy distressed deals, especially the locals? Because they believe in the Dubai market. If they have confidence, so should you.
It's counterintuitively intuitive, I suppose, isn't it? That
Exactly.
kind of thinking. Yeah, okay. But the other side of that is, people are fickle. It's that confidence to move one way or the other, isn't it? It's the decision, I suppose, for a lot of people.
Different people react differently. See, I might have a more risk tolerance level. Some people might not. They panic and they leave. It's normal. It's human. It's where you are coming from. and whether you have, how many plan Bs you have in your mind. So according to that, you can react. So a person like me, I am not leaving, and I'm definitely looking to buy more, because this is also a time that you should be looking at good deals. Again, what is a distressed deal? A distressed deal is something coined by a broker, and that is being used endlessly, used and abused. I've never seen a property owner say, "Hey, I have a distressed deal here." The idea is, if I buy a property for 2 million, and if the market price is 4 million, selling at 3.5 is not a distressed deal.
No, it's
selling
not.
at below 2 million is a distressed deal. But now most of the people, when they sell at 3.5 million, that is when they say, "Oh, we have a great distressed deal." It is a sweet deal. It is not a distressed deal.
But a sales tactic is a sales tactic.
Exactly.
AJ,
And people fall for it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I'm with you. So let me ask you about international investors a little bit. If you are an international investor and you have a ready property here and it's vacant, what should you do?
Again, depends on what your situation is. If you are an international investor, you just either got a property on handover now, or you have a ready property which is just got vacant now. Hold on to it. If you can hold on for even without rent, I don't know if you have mortgage, if you don't have mortgage, if you still can hold on without doing anything, without getting any rent for the next 2, 3, 4 months, hold on to it. Don't sell, right? And or you can actually consider giving at the same rental prices, but give some incentive, like rent it for 13 months or 14 months.
Okay.
Why do we do that? Is basically that does not bring down the rental index down. So when the market goes up, you are still on that level, because otherwise when you bring your price down, it is only so much that you can increase when the markets are good.
Gotcha, I'm with you. What if you've invested in off-plan?
Do nothing, because you're riding the wave.
So far, what we've learned today is do nothing. To hold. That's the point. Isn't it?
Like somebody said, it is a genuine question, right? I don't know. I could term it as stupid, but they said international investor told me, it's like, if a missile hits the land of my off-plan property, will the construction get stopped, or the construction gets faster because they've already taken care of the basement?
Okay. There's a dark humor in there somewhere, isn't there? I'm with you. Okay, so advice for investors, for home buyers, whether you're resident or non-resident, what's the overwhelming advice that you're kind of offering?
If you're a resident, definitely time to look to buy now. Hold on, wait for this month. Watch how the whole thing is progressing. Till end of March, do nothing. Start talking to a consultant. And then you focus on the area what you want, right? And definitely buy this time, because by April you should be able to see where the market is heading. If there is peace, we know that the market is going to rebound. So start looking for some properties now, because if you are buying now, you will get sweet deals in the secondary market. Or if you're buying from the developers, you are going to get a lot of nice deals from the developers. We're talking about DLD waivers. We're talking about extended payment plans, incentives. Like there's a developer now, is 1.5 million you buy, you're getting a Nissan Pathfinder. You buy a 3 million property, you're getting a Nissan Patrol. Buy anything worth 5 million, you're getting a Patrol Nismo.
It's the return of there's a car in the garage when you move in.
Exactly.
Promotion, is it?
Yeah.
Right.
So this is the right time to buy. And if you have a property now, you should also consider expanding your portfolio.
Okay. You're here for some time, so you're looking at this through the lens of history, really, and you've been through, haven't you, the rise and fall of Dubai, and I think there's an awareness, and we kind of forget this, but you've seen the rebounds in Dubai and the growth in Dubai, and it's a consistent kind of cycle.
Absolutely right.
Because hence you're bullish.
Exactly. The thing is, I've seen the 2008 global financial crisis. Yeah. I've seen the 2014 crisis. I've seen the 2020 COVID, the floods, everything. And after every these kind of calamities, Dubai has always bounced back. And some wise man actually told me it is only stupids who bet against Dubai.
Who was that wise man? I know you can't tell me. A good real estate consultant would offer the following advice: talk to a consultant now.
Yes. Because the thing is, don't sell. Because as a real estate guy, I make money if you sell or buy. The more number of transactions, I gain. But I'm still telling people that who owns properties, do not sell. Don't panic sell. Because I want you to make money. Dubai wants you to make money. So the ideal thing is to hold on. Obviously, some people's financial situations are different. Their panic, the stress levels are different. Then it's a different story. But now more of a property consultant. My role has pretty much changed into more like a therapist, more like a counselor.
Right, I was going to say actually, because you're talking to people, and naturally people are nervous at a time like now. We all are in one way or another, but some less than others, of course. But it must be a bit, you're constantly having to kind of just say, just take on, it'll be fine. And your mantra today is do nothing.
I am sitting on the ground. I'm here.
Yes.
If things were so bad, you and I would not be in Dubai. We would have left the country.
Well, this is true. I still don't know anybody that's left. So I kind of struggle with some of the news stories that I hear, and it's a symptom of the times, I suppose.
Stop watching news. Stop listening to all those Instagram videos.
You text me exactly that at the weekend, and it was funny because you said, "Joe, just spend some time with some friends," and I was cooking a meal for some friends as you said that. So maybe in some weird way we're aligned here, but the fact is that conflict does change things.
Yes, definitely.
It does have an effect.
Let's see, and the worst hit that Dubai has taken is basically that safe haven status that has been built over the period of years. That is under question now. It's not from the residents, but definitely from people outside the country who's never been in the country and who's only listening to these kind of exaggerated media, whatever propaganda they're doing. Their mind is now completely changed.
I think that's a perception at the moment, isn't it? That needs to be worked on, obviously. But there is a knock-on effect. But once peace is restored, and you figure that there is a length of time. Who knows how long that length of time is until that happens? What happens then? I mean, what are you looking towards?
See, and that is why I say you have to buy now. Why? Because once the market corrects itself, or once the peace is established, the cost of construction is going to go up. So your property is going to cost more. Why? Because of the inflation that is going to come in. Because of the extra fuel charges, your shipping cost is going to go in. So all the construction materials, all the MEP materials that is coming from China, coming from Europe or whatever it is going to cost higher. So the property prices in the future is going to cost you more money. So this is the time to act.
Right.
And the second thing is the bank's capability. So currently we do not know how many companies will last, because the bank's business is lending money to companies.
Sure.
If they go bust, how much of money is the bank getting? How much of the money the bank is going to lose? So we have to look at what will be the liquidity of the banks. How much are they willing to lend? Their LTV ratios might change. So basically, if you think that you can get a mortgage now, you might not be eligible for a mortgage later on.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. There is so much to consider. I mean, the thing is, I go back to Mohammed Al-Abar, the chairman, founder of Imar, talked to, I think it was CNBC a couple of weeks ago. It was a big interview that was picked up. But he made a fundamental point that I think holds at any point in time, no matter what's going on, generally. It would be extremely unusual if it didn't apply. But my observation is this: we're in a news cycle that reports every moment of every day. It's a continual cycle of news. Everything is amplified because it's directly to your phone now. Okay, as well. But the issue that I think lots of us forget is that fundamentals remain, and this is the point that Mohammed Al-Abar was making. And it's important to remember, particularly at a time like this, I think, that markets go down, but markets also go up.
Yeah.
Fundamentals being in place, I think that's the driving factor to remember, isn't it? In almost every case, I know there are unusual events that may take place, but fundamentals remain, don't they?
Exactly. And this is what they call by a black swan event, right? And if
Sure.
you see, going by the same token, after 9/11, then America should never have recovered. Their status should never have recovered.
Yes.
After the World War bombings in London, then London should never have recovered. Why did London become one of the most expensive real estate markets in the world? Why did it become the financial capital of the world for a long period of time? And so every public memory is very short. If you still have all the fundamentals in place, people will come back. Why was always a Dubai preferred destination? It is right in the middle. Everything was going strong. You can easily move in capital. So the ease of doing business, everything was good and everything is still good. It's just an external threat which has now come in. Again, it is an extraordinary situation. Definitely, it's a global thing. It is not a regional thing that many people believe. And if it's a global event, people in the world are going to come back. They cannot drag on this for forever. It has to stop at some point of time.
Back to that original point, aren't we? Fundamentals remain. This is a threat. This doesn't emanate from the UAE.
Yeah.
It's from without, if you like. So, no, I mean, I understand that. It's an interesting point. It's just the amplification of this stuff. So the ideal is the ability to tell yourself, step back for a moment and think through. Are you having to do that with people more?
A lot of people take, because the thing is, everybody is depending on the media, and every media agency or every media is actually, unfortunately, it's a paid propaganda. Many of them have their own agenda, and that is what they're trying to promote. Why? And especially, we've discussed this before, these are coming from the countries that have lost capital to Dubai. They are desperately trying to use this situation to their advantage and trying to hold back the people and come back to their countries to keep the capital safe. And these are the people who moved in did not move in just because of some whims or fancies, because they moved in because the whole fundamental structure was not great for them. It was not helping them financially. It was not helping them safety-wise. I'm talking about personal safety. Like, the average guy going on the street, it's not safe.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in Dubai, that it has always been the case. And even now, when we've tested to the limit, we are still safe.
Well, yeah, that's reasonable, I think. I mean, to what extent do you think the tension has affected buyer sentiment? What would your response to that question be?
On a professional level, or is it on people's personal level? What are we looking at here?
Both, actually. Let's start with the professional level.
See, on a professional level, as far as some industries are concerned, people are concerned. Sure. We're looking at hospitality industry. We're looking at tourism industry, because I talk to everybody, and they think that their salaries might be affected. They think that the jobs are not secure anymore. I mean, as of now, it is great, but if it prolongs for a certain period of time, obviously you wouldn't need so many staff if people are not coming in.
Yeah,
so we're talking about retail. We're talking about people-dependent business. So those people are a little bit concerned. Even on a normal personal level, we are talking about people. Some people have capability to withstand all this, but some people who are normally get stressed out of anything, definitely it is going to be trying times for them. They are stressed.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. For sure.
Again, the idea is, go talk to people, be with friends, don't be alone.
That's actually really good advice. I kind of appreciated that the other day. But you're very much of a mindset, aren't you, that historically Dubai there is a resilience here. I know we use that word all the time now, but it's true.
Resilience is one thing, but the thing is, even if you go a little bit deeper, everything is done so precisely now. Do you think that we are all okay by chance? No, because they have not really targeted at civilian people. If they wanted, they can just wipe us just in a second. So there is a restrained way of doing things, and they're actually doing that. They have to prove a point. Nobody wants total destruction.
No, for sure. No. Okay. I made a list of a few questions to ask you, and I'm going to kind of pick and choose them, and because it's very much about feeling at the moment. Let me just choose the right one here. There's a load. I know I can't catch you out. I know you're like, yeah, bring it on. Here we go. How would you choose a property right now wisely? Because you're saying to people, this is a good time to think about buying if you haven't otherwise. One that typically holds value even during geopolitical shocks. What would you be looking at?
Definitely, I'm looking at, if it is the ready market, I am looking at something, a real distress deal. That it might come. It is there somewhere. And I would be looking. What I'll do. I'm actually curating a list of places which I would want to buy.
Okay.
And I'll rank them as 1, 2, 3. So if I get this unit as a penthouse in right in the water, if it's currently trading at say 5 million, or sorry, penthouse is 15 million. 15 million. If I get it for 7.5 million or 6 million, I'll buy it. So I have a target number for that. If it is a villa, if it is currently at the price was say 14 million, if I'm getting it at 5.5, 6 million, definitely that's a pick. So you pick and choose. Wait for it's like the stock market. You have a target price, whether it's like a buy order, that kind of a thing.
Final question for you, and lots of people buy property with financing, of course, but how might a temporary dip in sentiment affect? This is a very difficult question to answer, but there will be an effect on financing or mortgage terms, won't there, as well? How do you view that?
Exactly. I think we kind of discussed that because we need to know what will be the liquidity of the banks.
Yeah.
So if there is a lot of companies that is going best, and if there is if the banks are being affected, so the banks will reconsider the loan to value ratio. So if they're currently giving say 80%, they would be not comfortable giving 80%. They will give say 70% or 60% or 50%. So in that case, how safe are you? Do you have 50% of a higher cost, basically because of the inflation, at a later stage? And will you be able to borrow that money?
So back to your original point, if you're eligible for a mortgage now, your point would be, in this case, not do nothing, do something.
You do something in that case,
God, we feel like we've come full circle, AJ. Always good to talk to you. We're over time slightly, but AJ Menon is the CEO of Lux Vista Real Estate, joins us every Tuesday morning here at Mira Business FM. Good to see you.
Likewise, Sam. Thank you.
Thank you. This is Mira Business FM. News next.
Mira Business FM, the sound of success.
Good morning, it's 10:30 a.m. I'm Sahar Mushtaq and this is the news on Mira Business FM. These are the headlines. Manafi for Development and Investment has pledged 100 million dirhams. The fund will support orphans in the UAE. The initiative is part of the Mother of the Nation Endowment for Orphans campaign. It was launched in Abu Dhabi under the patronage of President His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan. The campaign aims to create a sustainable source of funding. It will support orphan care across the country. Funds will be invested under a long-term model. Returns of the investment will be used towards education, healthcare, and living support of the orphans. Officials say the campaign is seeing a growing community participation. Both individuals and institutions are contributing. The initiative also aims to strengthen social cohesion. It reflects the UAE's values of giving and solidarity. The UAE has announced the continuation of distance learning for schools and universities. The measure will last for 2 weeks at the start of the third academic term, according to Gulf News. It applies to students, teachers, and administrative staff nationwide. This includes nursery schools and higher education institutions. Authorities say the situation will be reviewed weekly. Updates will be shared through official channels. At the same time, flexible remote work has been introduced. This is for federal employees who are caregivers. The move aims to support families. It also ensures continuity of education and safety. UAE supermarkets are rolling out special Eid discounts. At the same time, grocery prices are easing. Retailers say supply chains have improved, local production has also strengthened. As a result, key food costs are stabilizing. Meanwhile, stores have increased stock levels, demand is rising ahead of Eid. Items like fresh produce, rice, sweets, and beverages are in focus. However, some items, including onions and tomatoes, saw temporary increases. Even so, retailers say alternative sourcing is helping. Local supply is also keeping the market stable, according to Khalij Times report. Overall, shoppers across the UAE are stocking up on essentials. Eid preparations are now picking up pace. And now, quick market and currency update. Bitcoin today is trading at $74,206 and for those tracking remittances, 1 dirham equals about 25.17 Indian rupees, 75.97 Pakistani rupees, 33.37 Bangladeshi taka, 16.29 a Philippine peso, 14.26 Egyptian pound. Meanwhile, 1 British pound is equal to 4.87 dirhams today. That's the news for now. Follow more news on our website, mirabusiness.fm.
This is Mira Business FM. It's the morning drive. Coming up, we're going to be talking gold. Jeff Rhodes will be back joining us. New title in tow as well. That's next at Mira Business FM.
Mira Business FM, Dubai's home of business radio.
Mira Business FM, the morning drive. Back with us is the Managing Director for Business Development for the Middle East and Asia at Monetary Metals, the veritable Jeff Rhodes, all the way from Ras Al Khaimah here in the UAE. Morning, Jeff.
Yeah, good morning, Tim.
Nice to see you.
Is it okay?
Yeah,
Can you hear me okay?
sounds pretty good. I like the background there. You look very chilled this Tuesday morning.
Yeah, it is. It's very different being in Ras Al Khaimah versus Dubai.
It is.
It is difficult to get myself, together to talk about gold really when I'm looking at the ocean. So
I'm not
it's
sure.
very difficult.
Not sure it's ever difficult to get you to talk about gold, Jeff Rhodes. But look,
That's true.
That's what we're here to talk to you about. Not long since we last spoke, and we're coming up to Eid, so we would, miss speaking to you. Hence, you're back with us today. Precious metals post losses as surging crude oil prices take interest rate cuts off the table. That really is the theme, isn't it, at the moment?
It is, yeah, absolutely. And the theme of my weekly commentary was exactly that.
Yeah.
And it just, I was having a conversation with a colleague in the market just yesterday, and it seems strange to talk about inflation, oil prices going through the roof, kind of, I don't know, not record levels, but going through the roof. And then talk about gold going down or not going anywhere. It just seems a bit incongruous when you think, as I say, rising energy costs means rising inflation. Rising inflation is theoretically good for gold. That isn't the case at the moment because gold's rally in January was really driven by the expectations of lower interest rates in the US, particularly perhaps as low as 2% this year. But that is now off the table because it's very difficult for the Fed to cut interest rates when you have rampant inflation, which is being caused by rising energy costs. So it just leaves a bit like Spurs and Liverpool, Tim. A score draw. I thought I'd get the Spurs thing out of the way before you talk about it. But,
you didn't even shoehorn that either.
No. Look, but I do think that it is strange to talk about rising energy prices and gold prices not going anywhere. But that's the reality. That's the fact at the moment. And it is because of the impact of rising costs of petrol in the US, particularly have an impact on inflation there. And inflation means higher interest rates, or at least no cut in interest rates. I don't think there's any chance, really, of higher interest rates. Not with Donald Trump in the White House, that's for sure. So I think, it's steady as you go. And when I'm looking for gold to really stick around the $5,000 level for some time. I can't really see anything changing.
Well, that's what's interesting at the moment, because I was going to say to you, gold seems to have found that level. I mean, certainly the last few days, I checked at 9 this morning, $5,037 an ounce it was. I was going to ask you for your thoughts on that, but I mean, that's the kind of benchmark at the moment, isn't it?
Well, it is, but my thoughts are, Tim, I'm really pleased that you are looking so closely at gold. It's you're learning well, mate. I must say that don't forget, last thing at night, kiss the wife, have a look at the gold price. First thing in the morning, kiss the wife, have a look at the gold price. And so I think it's very good. What I do think is if we saw some poor numbers from the US economic data, that would bring interest rate cuts onto the table. And of course, the meeting of the FOMC starts in the US today, ends tomorrow. I think it's 100% certain there'll be no change in interest rates. But it will be interesting to look at the narrative of Fed Chairman Powell with his press conference after the announcement tomorrow evening. So, but as I say, $5,000 is where we are. I could see, maybe $100 lower, $100 higher, but at the end of this week, probably not too far away from $5,000. And of course, we effectively have a shortened week. We do have Eid coming up, and definitely the impact of buying or not buying of gold in the Middle East is important. And the jewelry sector in the Middle East is really a key driver of global gold prices. So I think, we're going to have people on holiday, but hopefully they'll be in the suit buying gold.
Well, let's
and we
hope
will see
so.
high prices.
Okay. There's something that jumped out at me. Let me put this to you. In your report, I think was it yesterday you were rounding up last week?
Yeah, I was. Yeah.
And you seemed reasonably optimistic. The conflict in this the region that we've seen is going to subside sooner rather than later. And here's the quote, Jeff. While the key focus for global markets will be the war in the Gulf region, it's only a matter of time before the geopolitical tensions subside. Investors reset their attentions onto global economies, with the direction of US dollar interest rates holding the key to gold prices, although energy-driven inflation will make the Fed's job even more difficult than usual, taking rate cuts off the table until Q3. That's the perceived wisdom. We've talked about that at great length. So here we are, relatively early on a Tuesday market for international markets, Western
Yeah.
markets, March the 17th. And still feel that way?
Yeah, exactly. And it's behaving itself very well. We've seen gold down to 49.70 this morning. We've seen it up to 50.45. So it's kind of doing exactly what is expected, what I'm expecting, that is pivoting around $5,000. If we have $100, $200 trading range in a week, it would surprise me, actually. I think it's going to be a really, really quiet week unless something dramatic happens in the Middle East. But I feel myself that, as I say, sooner rather than later, there will be peace where we're living, and looking forward to that, of course. And I think there's enough common sense around the various tables in the world to make sure that the situation doesn't get any worse. And in my view, it is only a matter of time before we're back to normal.
Let me just ask you a little bit about the US economy, the driver of the world economy, of course, expanded an annualized 0.7% in Q4 2025. And that's the weakest performance since a contraction in the first quarter of 2025. It's half the advance estimate. So very much a cooling economy. Is that a reasonable, assessment?
It is. It's a very good assessment, and that cooling economy, before the problems in the Gulf, was the main driver of gold prices going ballistic in January.
Yes.
Because of this feeling that the U.S. economy is really, it's not in a great shape, and you could see that, as I say, President Trump is really kind of trying hard to keep himself from keep saying 2%, 2%. But I think he's actually, although obviously people have their opinions of Donald Trump, I like the idea of cutting interest rates to boost the economy. And I think he will get his way, and eventually you'll see probably not 2%, but 3% is my expectations for Q4 this year.
It's something else that I was going to mention this to you last week, and I didn't. We ran out of time, unfortunately. It was just a note that bullion, traditionally, safe haven asset, up more than 20% so far this year. So notching successive kind of record highs. Not that surprising, given the uncertainty that is around at the moment, I guess.
Yeah, as I say, Tim, the driver of the rally was not and is not geopolitics. It's the global economies, particularly led by the US economy, where there has been expectations of lower interest rates. And lower interest rates are good for gold. Donald Trump is good for gold.
Yeah.
And so for me, that's it. The geopolitics came along, and strangely, we've got really serious geopolitical problems, but gold isn't going anywhere. And so for me, gold has always been about being that alternative currency to all currencies. And what we've had is a flight to the US dollar over the last 2 or 3 weeks because of the geopolitics. But once that goes away, and once the markets start to realize that they're going to get less of a yield on their US dollars than they've had for some time, I think that's time that you'll see weakness in the dollar and strength in gold.
I want to talk to you about silver, one of the other shiny metals. Jeff hit $90 last week. It seems to me it's the equilibrium is kind of $80 at the moment. You're on record as saying, I'm going to quote you again, it had a heavy feel to it as it came under pressure. It dropped to about 78. What kind of trading range do you expect over the next, week or so?
Yeah, in that weekly report, I talked about $70 to $80.
Right.
I think that's probably a bit low. We've seen 78. I could see 75 this week, but equally I could see 85, and I could see the price really trading within that $10 trading range, which is a significant trading range. It's not the crazy numbers that we saw in January, but still really, really quite impressive. So, yeah, 75, 85, and play the range.
What about platinum, palladium? We didn't discuss those at all last week. How do you feel now?
Well, yeah, platinum and palladium had problems last week. And that was because of the threat, the impact on the global economy of what is going on in the Gulf. But very nice rallies. And we saw platinum and palladium up yesterday about 4% each. So it's really quite a nice rally. Yeah, I see both of them being quite steady. I like platinum more than palladium, as everyone knows. I think looking at the markets, 2001, say 2,100 to 2,250, my range for this week. And for palladium, 1,550 to 1,700. So I don't see any major changes in any of the four precious metals this week, particularly with the fact that we're heading into Eid and a lot of people in this part of the world will be taking a break from markets.
The other thing, last week you singled out copper as kind of the one to watch the last time we spoke, and there was a level of excitement in your voice, I noticed.
Yeah, well, I'm not really a copper guy, but there's so many, everyone thinks because precious, base. Well, I know copper a little bit, but what I like about copper is that it is an early warning signal for silver, platinum, and palladium, particularly silver, which is both a monetary metal and an industrial metal. But copper is purely industrial, and it gives you a lead on that side of the market, on that side of the silver industry. Copper can be a good indicator for industrial demand. And over the last 5 years, that industrial demand aspect of silver has become more and more important than its monetary side. And we've had 5 years of chronic supply deficits in silver. More silver is consumed every year than is produced, and more demand is coming industrially for silver. We've got from the electronic cars using silver. We've got the solar panels using silver. The latest is AI uses a lot of silver. And so industrially, it's more important. So for me, looking for a signal on silver, I quite often turn to copper.
This is an aside, but my wife was cleaning some silver at the weekend, and she used some YouTube hack, and it was baking soda and I don't know, washing up liquid or something like that. It worked, I have to say. I don't know how good it is for the metal, but I just wanted to ask you, I hope you don't mind, how do you clean silver, Jeff? And what's the best way to clean your silver?
Honestly?
Yeah.
Alcohol.
Is it really? Like rubbing alcohol, like
Yeah.
medical alcohol? Is that the best way to do it?
No, the other alcohol.
Oh, is it? Is it really? Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Not what I expected.
Sorry. No, it is actually, yeah. And but frankly, you're better off just leaving the silver as it is. It does get a bit darker and so on and so forth. But
Yeah.
I think if you're using some bad stuff to clean it, you might clean away some of your silver. So I think you're better off leaving it alone. But of course, if you got some kind of products, for example, the beautiful coins that are produced by many of the mints around the world, including Royal Mint,
Right.
that never tarnishes. So, and I love silver. I love silver coins.
You do.
I love these. I do. I love silver coins and gold coins, but gold coins so expensive. Silver coins is really, you've got history there. And I always go back to the fact that the Royal Mint, being British, I'm so proud to be doing some work for the Royal Mint, but their first coins were made in 886.
Mm.
Can you imagine?
Mm.
And that's the oldest mint in the world. So, but I think coins are a very, very good way. Coins and simple jewelry, good way to invest in both gold and platinum and silver.
Okay.
And platinum as well, but there aren't any platinum coins to the best of my knowledge. Medallions, yes, but monetary coins, no. It's gold and silver are the monetary coins.
Have you ever worn a medallion?
No. I do wear this.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I'm with you.
Okay.
I was just
So-
taking a shiny sword
and
to
that
the
comes-
conversation.
Anyway, so but look, I do, when people get back in investing mode in terms of gold and silver, I think simple gold with not
Right.
too much making charge involved, and coins, extra coins rather than medallions.
Okay. Well, what we'll do is we'll check back in with you after Eid, of course. Just a quick note, Jeff. You managed to shoehorn your football team into the conversation there, but you've got Atletico Madrid and then Nottingham Forest. That's on Sunday, isn't it? Notts Forest, I think.
Sunday, yeah.
Yeah. How are you feeling ahead of that? Because this is crunched. It really is crunch time for your team.
Yeah, well, look, we've got too much to do against Atletico, so that's gone. Yeah, look, I mean, it's the old-fashioned six-pointer, Tim, because we're both in the same boat.
We are.
Forest and Spurs, and one of my best friends is actually in the market. Is a Forest fan, so no doubt we'll have an Irish bet. Do you know what an Irish bet is?
I don't actually. What is that?
It's when you bet on the other team.
Okay. All right then.
So that if your team loses, at least you'll win dinner or something. So it's Irish. So his name's Ian Benfield. Actually, he's living in the UK now.
Right.
So if Ian watches this, hello Ian. Let's have our usual bet.
Well, let's hope it goes the way that you want it to go. All that remains, Jeff, let me just wish you a very happy Eid, and we'll see you next week. Eid Mubarak indeed. Good to talk to you, Jeff.
Thanks, mate. Take care.
Appreciate
Bye-bye.
it. Jeff Rose, Manager Director for Business Development, Middle East and Asia for Monetary Metals by day, and an all-round gold oracle by night. And early morning as well, with us on the show today. Good to talk to you, Jeff. A reminder that you can find us across social media here at Mira Business FM. Very easy to find. Just search up Mira Business FM. And also, don't forget that you can find us across a number of different platforms. Wherever you get your podcasts from, just search Mira Business FM. You can find the news on X, the website, mirabusiness.fm. And also, you can get in touch via the Mira Business FM WhatsApp channel as well. Very easy to find. Number of different podcasts available these days, including Crossroads, which is a collaboration between Middlesex University here in Dubai and Mira Business FM. That's Fridays, I believe, when it comes out. Dr. David Tully, Dima Magalse, welcoming a new guest from across the global entertainment industry. All from here in the UAE. That's kind of the vantage point, I suppose. You can catch the episodes on YouTube and across your favourite podcast platforms. As they say, we'll see you at the crossroads. This is Mira Business FM.
Mira Business FM, Dubai's home of business radio.
Good morning, it's 11 a.m. I'm Sahar Mushtaq and this is the news on Mira Business FM. These are the headlines. Air traffic operations have returned to normal across the UAE, the General Civil Aviation Authority announced. Earlier, authorities temporarily closed the airspace as a precaution amid regional security developments. The closure followed a full assessment of operational and security risks, according to Gulf News today. The GCAA said passenger safety and UAE sovereignty remains top priority. Airlines are providing updates, assistance, and accommodations to affected passengers. Authorities urged the public to follow official sources for information and thanked everyone for their cooperation during the temporary closure. UAE supermarkets are rolling out special Eid discounts. At the same time, grocery prices are easing, according to Khaleej Times. Retailers say supply chains have improved, local production is also strengthened. As a result, key food costs are stabilizing. Meanwhile, stores have increased stock levels. Demand is rising ahead of Eid. Items like fresh produce, rice, sweets, and beverages are in focus. However, some items, including onions and tomatoes, saw temporary increases. Even so, retailers say alternative sources is helping. Local supply is also keeping the market stable, according to Khaleej Times report. Overall, shoppers across the UAE are stocking up on essentials. Eid preparations are now picking up pace. The UAE has expanded emergency support for golden visa holders abroad. New consular services are now available during crisis. This follows the recent efforts to bring back stranded residents. Around 500 golden visa holders were assisted during travel disruptions, according to Khalij Times. The support includes a 24/7 emergency hotline. It also covers evacuation and crisis assistance. In addition, holders can apply for an electronic return document. This is issued if a passport is lost or damaged overseas. The service may also be extended to family members. This includes registered dependents with valid residency. Officials say the move strengthens support for long-term residents. It also reflects confidence in the UAE's stability despite regional challenges. Middle East oil prices have hit record highs. Platts Dubai crude reached around 153 per barrel, surpassing Brent's 2008 peak of almost $148. Oman crude also rose to a record around $148 per barrel. Analysts say the surge is due to war-related supply disruptions, including halted shipments through the Strait of Hormuz. Middle East exports to Asia fell sharply to around 12 million barrels per day in March, down from almost 19 million in February. Thin trading and supply constraints are also pushing up benchmark prices. Asian refiners are turning to alternative sources or cutting output. Spot premiums for African and American crude have increased as a result. The surge highlights global market tension and rising costs for refiners and buyers worldwide. That's the news for now. Follow more news on our website, mirabusiness.fm.
Coming up on the Morning Drive here at Mira Business FM, Dubai's new shared housing law, what tenants and also what landlords need to know. That's next at Mira Business FM.
Mira Business FM, the sound of success.
Mira Business FM. On this edition of The Fine Print, Dubai has introduced a major new law and it regulates shared housing. It brings in stricter rules on permits, there are occupancy limits and increases in safety standards across the Emirates. What does it mean for tenants sharing apartments? What does it mean for landlords renting out units? And what does it mean for the wider rental market in Dubai? Raymond Kiswani is back with us. He is a partner at Davidson & Co., our legal expert. Good to see you.
Good to be here.
Excuse me, I'm still struggling with this. I don't know if it's a flu or what. Who can tell? Good to see you. Thanks for making time again.
Absolutely.
So, new regulations for shared housing, making news in the last week or so, Raymond. Under the new framework, I need to get this exactly right. Units must meet official standards and obtain permits before being used for shared accommodation. And violations can carry hefty fines, as you would kind of expect. Just initial thoughts to begin with from you.
Yeah, I mean it's interesting. I think it's another example of sort of the government recognizing the reality and trying to regulate it rather than sort of pretend that it's not happening or just outlawing it outright. So, shared housing has been a reality. Not just here, but pretty much everywhere. And so this is kind of one of those. I mean, what seems to have kind of prompted this is the reality, again, that shared housing in Dubai has become quite significant and important in the residential market space, especially with how sort of in the kind of post-COVID world, rental cost is quite significant. So for a significant portion of the population, sharing a house is almost a life necessity, right? Yeah. So and up until this point, shared homes or accommodations has been this kind of gray legal area, where it's happening, but it's not quite regulated. And I think really the rationale is let's not pretend it's not happening and close our eyes and sort of do the ostrich effect. Let us bring it to light. Let's create a law that protects the landowners, the residents, that ensures that there is safe and healthy living conditions, prevent overcrowding and that kind of informal housing arrangements. Let's create something so that the population is protected, the landowners are protected, and the overall real estate market is protected. So, again, I think it's a step in the right direction.
It is. I mean, it's a natural effect, isn't it? It's always been there, but it's more prevalent. Rents have increased since COVID. I mean, so there's a necessity here. So a new dedicated law, and it specifically regulates shared housing. Natural next question is, how exactly do you define shared housing? Because that's the key, isn't it? What kinds of arrangements fall under the new definition?
Yeah, that's a great sort of opener in terms of what is the definition of a shared home. At a high level, what this law is regulating is the management and the occupancy of shared housing units in Dubai. What has been released thus far is that it applies to residential units that are designated for shared accommodation. Owners authorized to kind of allocate those units for the specific use of shared accommodations and the residents living within them. It applies across all of Dubai, including free zones, and it covers both lease contracts and management contracts that relate to those units. But really importantly, the labor type accommodations are excluded from this. So this is more in the private sector shared accommodation type thing. Okay. So in practical terms, the arrangements that are most likely to fall within the framework of this are apartments or villas where unrelated residents are occupying the same residential unit on a shared basis, whether it's a room, a partitioned space, or sort of a multi-bedroom space style allocation. So what we would call sort of housemates, roommates, etc. Right?
Sure.
The law clearly aimed at that shared residential segment rather than family accommodations, because obviously that's a completely different notion. The one point that I think is important to stress here is that the law gives a framework, but the more kind of finer grain definitions and conditions are going to be implemented through the technical rules that are going to be issued by the Dubai municipality and the Dubai Land Department. So what we know is that the direction of travel is quite clear to regulate this segment, this area, and to provide sort of practical boundaries, again, to protect both the owners, the landowners of the accommodation, those that are actually sharing the accommodation, that are living in that situation, and the overall real estate market as a whole.
There's a permit requirement now. How does that work in practice for property owners?
Yes. So the practical headline is very straightforward. It is that no person or entity can allocate a unit for shared housing without having this permit in the first place.
Okay.
So you need to have this permit in place first. That is a core legal requirement under this law. The permit is going to be issued and renewed through rules that the Dubai municipality, in coordination with the land department, is going to offer.
Mm-hmm.
In practice, what this means is that a landowner, can't simply decide to turn a standard residential unit into a shared accommodation setup and start renting out rooms or spaces informally. The unit first has to satisfy the technical and regulatory conditions. Those include building standards, maximum occupancy limits, the space per resident that is required, et cetera, et cetera. And these permits are generally going to be valid on an annual basis, and they will be renewal.
Okay, so the law also introduces, and I think this is a really important aspect of it, the occupancy limits, and there is now a set kind of minimum space per resident, isn't there? So what should tenants, and I guess also what should landlords expect from the new standards?
Yeah,
set?
I mean, this, to my information, this has been kind of a problem with shared housing is, again, overcrowding, where effectively landowners are providing these kind of shared accommodations, and there's just way too many people for the amount of space that's available.
Yeah.
So they should expect at the end of that sort of informal model, where the real test simply is that nobody complained about it. Under this new law, occupancy and space are no longer just practical issues; they are regulatory and legal issues. Dubai municipality is going to be given the responsibility for setting maximum occupancy limits, minimum space per resident, and the requirements for shared facilities. So in terms of how many bathrooms per resident, et cetera. It'll also determine sort of which areas of Dubai are suitable for shared housing, taking into account sort of the urban planning, infrastructure, population density, et cetera. So what this means in practical terms is that compliance is likely to become measurable. We don't have those exact numbers just yet. They are going to be released by the municipality and the land department in due course. But basically, landowners and operators are going to expect an objective criteria around how many people can lawfully occupy a unit, how much living space must be allocated per resident, and what are the basic facilities that each unit is required to have before you can take those steps. And tenants should also expect stricter scrutiny in terms of overcrowding, and their living situation should improve so that you don't have this kind of informal arrangement around shared housing, that it becomes a legal regulatory requirement.
And I mean, there is now a legal recourse, isn't there? Or there will shortly be a legal recourse. So, I mean, for people living in shared apartments or some kind of bed space arrangement, what do they need to do to make sure they're compliant, or to make sure that their landlord is compliant?
Yeah, so I think it's really important to recognize that even though the headlines is that this law is there, it hasn't come into effect yet.
Is it this summer? I think.
Yeah, it will be
I think it's the 1st of June.
180 days. Yeah, so I think it will be in June that it becomes officially kind of the law of the land. So again, we always make sure that where a law is being issued, that it's being publicized, it is being effective, so that everybody knows what is expected of them and they have time before the law comes into effect. So existing owners and operators that are already using these units for shared housing have 1 year from when the law takes effect to bring those units and their operations into compliance with the new law. But residents should absolutely start checking their position now, I think. They should ask some basic questions. Is the arrangement directly with the owner, or is it with an authorized operator of the unit that they're in? Is there a proper written tenancy arrangement? Because a lot of times this is a very informal type arrangement. Will that tenancy be registered in the traditional sense? Is the unit obviously overcrowded, or is it partitioned in a way that raises safety concerns, fire concerns, etc.? And is the building management or the landlord actually treating the setup as a lawful shared unit under the law, or is it just sort of a bed space type arrangement? I think for tenants, the safest course is to move away from a purely informal, cash-based arrangement with no paperwork, as has been going on for many years. The new registry requirement should ultimately improve legal protection for residents, because a documented and registered arrangement is much easier to enforce than sort of a word of mouth type arrangement. So the practical legal advice here is get clarity, get paperwork, and avoid assuming that the situation that you're in is a legal one just because you happen to be in it.
Yeah, and be ready for, if it's 180 days, I guess that's more likely September, but it is this year is the point, isn't it? And there's going to be more written about this as, that time period lapses. The law also prohibits tenants from subleasing part of a unit as well, which is a standard across the property industry, the real estate sector here. How significant is that change for people currently renting out bed spaces or renting out rooms?
Yeah, it's very significant, because as you say, in virtually most of the certainly in the sort of template version of your tenancy contract, there is a clause in there saying that you can't sublease.
It's a simple, basic clause, isn't it?
But just because it's in writing, unfortunately, isn't always the reality on the ground, which is what's happening here. So it is quite significant. I think the law is stating clearly that only owners or authorized establishments may lease a shared housing unit, and that a tenant or some other party cannot sublease any part of their unit. So if I'm renting a 2-bedroom apartment, I can't sublease it another bedroom without having that proper authorization. And really, this I think directly targets one of the most common informal practices in the real estate market, which is where a tenant takes a unit and then starts renting out bedrooms or partitions or bed spaces to multiple other occupants. And it is almost always undocumented. Yeah. Under this new framework, that is no longer just a contractual issue between the tenant and the landlord. It is a specific legal prohibition within this housing regime, and that is something that we need to stress, because up until this point, that is simply a contractual breach that a tenant is doing, and it is effectively for the landlord to try to effect an eviction of it. This is now a legal prohibition by the government saying this cannot be done.
What about responsibilities that landlords or the owners of properties or property management companies have under the new framework? How has that, or how is that likely to manifest? How is it likely to change? I wanted to get the word manifest in, and I did today.
There you go.
Not quite sure what it means, but you know where I'm going. But what does it mean for specific responsibilities?
In a word, their responsibilities are going to become much heavier. Because they are being treated as regulated participants in a defined housing segment. At the most basic level, they must ensure that the unit is properly permit based before they can start sharing those before they can rent it out as a shared housing arrangement. They must ensure compliance with technical and safety and fire standards. That includes things like health, sanitation, security, electrical, all of those things. And for landlords, especially, I think, there is the documentation and the systems burden. And what I mean by that is the Dubai Land Department is going to specify what data must be recorded in a shared housing registry, what information must appear in the lease and in the management contracts. Reporting is indicating that those contracts will need details such as the landlord information, the resident numbers, their names, unit information, the space allocations, etc. So there's quite a lot that is going to happen. I think in short, landlords and operators are going to be moving from a loosely supervised type space into a much more regulated, licensed, compliance, and record-keeping environment.
Sizable fines as well, Raymond, up to 1 million dirhams for repeat violations. Well, what are the kinds of things that could trigger penalties at that level?
Yeah, it's quite a wide range actually in terms of fines. It's as low as 500 all the way up as you said up
That's
to
the maximum, isn't it?
Yeah. And if it's the same repeated violation within a 1 year span, it can go all the way up to 1 million dirhams. Right. So not an insignificant number. In addition to that, the land department is going to be able to suspend activity for up to 6 months, or even cancel permits or revoke commercial licenses of repeat offenders. So it is not a low level type enforcement regime. So it's not just about one dramatic offense. It is really a compliance ecosystem. The law is giving the authorities a very broad enforcement toolkit, and the financial exposure for those that violate it is quite significant.
In terms of enforcement, how will that work? Which authority is going to oversee shared housing now?
Yeah, so it's going to be a multi-effect one. The law creates kind of a shared oversight model. The Dubai municipality is going to be the main regulator for shared housing across the emirate. Right. It's responsible for policy, strategic planning. It's going to set the occupancy and the space standards that we talked about. So that's with them. And then the Dubai Land Department is going to manage the electronic shared housing registry, and it's going to link it with the municipality's platform. The DLD. I'm just getting my acronyms incorrect there. Is also going to determine the data that needs to be recorded. It's going to specify the required contract information and the enforcement route. And then finally, we have, if there are disputes, the Dubai Rental Dispute Center is going to have exclusive jurisdiction over those disputes that relate to the rights and obligations under this law between tenants and landlords.
We're talking about the new shared housing law on the fine print today. Raymond Kiswani is a partner at Davidson and Co. We're just going to take a quick break for the news. Stick around, Raymond. We'll be back just to look at a final few more questions surrounding the law. Right now, 11:30, it's Mira Business FM. News is next.
Mira Business FM, Dubai's home of business radio.
Good morning, it's 11:30 a.m. I'm Sahar Mushtaq and this is the news on Mira Business FM. These are the headlines. Manafi for Development and Investment has pledged 100 million dirhams. The fund will support orphans in the UAE. The initiative is part of the Mother of the Nation Endowment for Orphans campaign, according to the Emirates News Agency WAM. It was launched in Abu Dhabi under the patronage of President His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan. The campaign aims to create a sustainable source of funding. It will support orphan care across the country. Funds will be invested under a long-term model. Returns of the investment will go towards education, healthcare, and living support. Officials say the campaign is seeing growing community participation. Both individuals and institutions are contributing. The initiative also aims to strengthen social cohesion. It reflects the UAE's values of giving and solidarity. Air traffic operations have returned to normal across the UAE, the General Civil Aviation Authority announced today, according to Gulf News. Earlier, authorities temporarily closed the airspace as a precaution amid regional security developments. The closure followed a full assessment of operational and security risks. The GCAA said passenger safety and UAE sovereignty remains a top priority. Airlines are providing updates, assistance, and accommodations to affected passengers. Authorities urged the public to follow official sources for information and thanked everyone for their cooperation during the temporary closure. UAE supermarkets are rolling out special Eid discounts at the same time grocery prices are easing, according to a report on Khalij Times. Retailers say supply chains have improved. Local production has also strengthened. As a result, key food costs are stabilizing. Meanwhile, stores have increased stock levels. Demand is rising ahead of Eid. Items like fresh produce, rice, sweets, and beverages are in focus. However, some items, including onions and tomatoes, saw temporary increases. Even so, retailers say alternative sourcing is helping. Local supply is also keeping the market stable, according to another report on Khalij Times today. Overall, shoppers across the UAE are stocking up on essentials. Eid preparations are now picking up pace. Mideast oil prices have hit record highs, and Dubai crude reached around $153 per barrel, surpassing Brent's 2008 peak of almost $148, according to Reuters report. Oman crude also rose to a record around $148 per barrel. Analysts say the surge is due to war-related supply disruptions, including halted shipments through the Strait of Hormuz. Middle East exports to Asia fell sharply to around 12 million barrels per day in March, down from almost 19 million in February. Thin trading and supply constraints are also pushing up benchmark prices. The surge highlights global market tension and a rising cost for refiners and buyers worldwide. And now, quick market and currency update. Bitcoin today is trading at $74,395, and for those tracking remittances, 1 dirham equals about 25.17 Indian rupees, 75.97 Pakistani rupees, 33.37 Bangladeshi taka, 16.29 Philippine peso, 14.26 Egyptian pound. Meanwhile, 1 British pound is equal to 4.87 dirhams today. That's the news for now. Follow more news on our website, mirabusiness.fm.
Mira Business FM, Dubai's home of business radio.
This is the Morning Drive at Mira Business FM. It's the fine print. Raymond Kiswani is here. He's a partner at Davidson & Co. We're discussing Dubai's new shared housing law, what tenants and landlords need to know. Raymond, thank you for sticking around.
Absolutely.
Question. For landlords already operating shared housing setups, what's the timeline so that you can comply with the new rules? There's the question for you.
Yeah, so the law is going to take effect 180 days after publication in the official Gazette.
Right.
From that date, it takes legal effect, and owners of units that are being used for shared housing or that are operating within that space have 1 year to bring themselves into compliance.
Okay.
So there is quite a bit of time. They can also apply for a one-time extension, which can be granted by the Dubai municipality if needed. So the practical message is that there is a transition period, but it is not an invitation to wait until the last minute, as I always like to warn. Landlords should use this window to audit their properties, to bring themselves into compliance, to bring themselves within the regulatory structures, review their management arrangements, prepare for the permits that they need, and get everything so that once this law comes into effect, they are completely compliant with it.
I mean, my first kind of reaction to that was, it should happen now. This needs to be immediate. But then, if you look at what in effect needs to happen, you can understand why a year's been given here. There could be significant structural work needs to happen. You know, that's the point, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, you know, again, this is a reality that's been happening, kind of behind the scenes, and there hasn't been any real regulation around it before. So we can easily see how there's a significant amount of changes that need to happen in order to bring a property up to code, shall we say. So having that sort of extension allows people the ability to do the right thing over a reasonable amount of time. Because again, you know, it could be a situation that you have to take partitions down. It could be that you have to add an additional bathroom or additional access or whatever that situation may be.
Yeah, exactly right. What does it mean for, you know, the impact on rental prices or availability of affordable housing in the city? Because, you know, these are new regulations. You need to take them into account. There are costs associated, aren't there?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's quite interesting because I think in the short term, stricter rules may reduce the supply of the sort of the informal, non-compliant shared accommodations, especially the units that are overcrowded and are going to be effectively unlawful. So that could put an upward pressure on pricing for those type of lower cost rental units.
Yeah.
I think the other side, though, is that the law may produce a more stable and transparent shared housing market over the long term, where the Dubai Land Department is even expected to introduce and update rent indicators for shared housing units based on their specifications in a similar way as to the overall rental market. So I think to frame it in a way that in the near term, some informal low-cost supply may disappear or have to be restructured, and that will hit people's pocketbooks. But in the medium to longer term, a more compliant shared housing may become more professionalized, more predictable, have sort of broad stream regulations, and is going to be safer for everybody involved. So whether that translates into a higher price average in the short term, I think in the long term it should be a net positive.
it's an addition, it's a bonus, I think, in lots of ways to the real estate market, isn't it? Certainly in terms of the index as well. It's a broader, range of price comparisons, ratios that you can draw from that. Final question for you. What are the biggest misconceptions that residents or people, watching the market might have about shared housing as it stands in Dubai at the moment?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think the first misconception is that shared housing is being banned. That's not what it is. It is simply the law does not prohibit shared housing as such. It is going to regulate it because, again, as we've been saying, for many years, shared housing has been operating, but it has been this gray zone, undocumented, cash-based system without any clear regulation. That's what is being done with this law. Shared accommodation can continue and will continue, but it will be with permits. It will be properly managed, and there is going to be a compliant system that ensures people's safety and their finance safeguards. I think the second misconception is that this only affects landlords and what they have to do, but I think it does affect tenants, especially those that are informally subleasing their apartments, their rooms, their bed spaces, because the law is going to expressly prohibit that as a legal effect rather than a contractual effect. And I think lastly is that this law is about fines. It's not. The fines are there to ensure compliance rather than this is just a fine mechanism.
Okay. Dubai's new shared housing law, 180 days from being published in the Gazette. This is about, 10 days ago, I think this story came out. It's around about there. So just under 6 months and then a year, 365 days to comply. And hopefully what tenants and landlords need to know. That's the fine print for this morning. Raymond Kiswani is a partner at Davidson & Co. As ever, thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.
Good to see you, Raymond. This is Mira Business FM.
Mira Business FM, Dubai's home of business radio.